Hello, everybody. Welcome to this 18v18 broadcast, and we are here with the championship of the Hell Let Loose Summer Invitational
Xander, we're still waiting
between
on Vegas.
82nd Airborne and DC. Let me briefly just mute command chat so we're not picking up anything. Um, this is going to be a great game. 82nd Airborne enters this match from the winners bracket. They have only lost a single match thus far in the tournament, and that was against DC in week one, back in the round of 16, so all the way back in beginning of August. Whereas DC, having been dropped to the losers bracket by 82nd in that round, has had to fight all the way through the losers bracket, starting in losers round two, and they went two, three, four, five, six, seven. Seven being the losers round final. They beat RO last week to get to 82nd here in this championship game. So very, very impressive showing from DC. And here we are. I mean, this is a tournament that was originally meant to run 5 weeks. We added an additional week here due to some match time issues last weekend. Here we are. And it's been a great tournament. It's been a great event. We started with 20 communities. We are now down to two. I want to give a huge shout out to all of the communities that participated in this event. We are really happy with how things managed to go. I think the rule set really worked. We had a good format. We had a very good set of rules. And we just had a lot of really committed individuals, starting with the tournament admin team all the way down to the captains and to the referees, and then ultimately to the players. So just a community should give themselves a round of applause on this one. This is a really, really impressive event, really without any major incident. And we've now arrived at the end. And there's so much to talk about, and I want to save some of it for the match. But just as a sneak preview, these two teams are actually going to be allying with each other in the upcoming Hell Let Loose Fall seasonal, which is awesome. So these are two very, very evenly matched teams, in my opinion, and they are going to be great allies to each other in that seasonal competition. And I'm not looking forward to having my team play them if we get there. So, with all of that said, it looks like we're holding on to start here. We got 5 minutes to start, so could have been a 1:15 start, so we're hanging. So that gives me a little bit more time to chat. So let's talk about 82nd as a team. 82nd finished last year's competition, which was the why am I blanking on the name? The summer, or the International Cup. Sorry, I'm keep getting the names mixed up. Last year was the HLL Summer International Cup, and we had 10 communities participate. 82nd placed third in that competition, beating HLLTC Shield in the third place game. But they had a lot of really, really strong performances in the tournament as a whole, and they were out in this one for, I don't want to say blood, but they were definitely out to prove that they wanted to be the top team in this format. And Jem, who some of you may know on stream, is someone who really has embraced the format, and he's taken it very seriously, and he's basically been scrimming and practicing this format for the better course of a year. And we got to the tournament. They were seeded third based on their placement in last year's tournament. And they took that seeding and they never looked back. And they've had convincing wins really throughout the tournament. Starting with, well, it's funny, really, their first game was the most difficult one they played, I think. DC beat them in match two, forcing a match three in that round of 16 series. So we do get a bit of a rematch here. And they comfortably beat last year's second place team, TC. That would be us, me. And they looked very comfortable in that win, and they looked prepared, and they executed perfectly. And then they got the kind of new kids on the block, RO, and they beat RO in two games as well in the winners final 2 weeks ago. So really just been dominant performance after dominant performance for this 82nd team. They have come to play, and they've really just shown that they are the team to beat in the format. If you have not watched one of these matches before, you will see that as we get going here. They're just a superb team and have really figured out and understood the mechanics of the format. Moving over to DC, this is a team that can shoot as well as anyone, are extremely talented on the field. They obviously did not do as much prep as 82nd has leading into the tournament. I think since we've gotten to the actual matches, I think they've been doing a little bit of prep. And they are really strong. They dropped into the losers bracket immediately and just looked comfortable. They've had a couple of close games. They had that wild match against Exodus that we covered on stream a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, we've just had some crazy games with DC, but they are here. And they totally deserve to be here. They had to fight through a very... the last three matches they played were very interesting. They got TC in losers round 5, beat them. Then they got OC in losers round 6, beat them. And then they got RO, who were really seen as maybe like the favorites after the first couple of weeks. They got them in the losers final, and they beat them. So DC absolutely deserves to be here. They have been so impressive, and, you know, it's really going to be a pleasure watching this. We're going to get started here in about 50 seconds. Last thing I want to mention is, for those of you that are joining for the first time, we are playing on Flak pits. 82nd is the top seeded team. They are the 1 seed heading into this, so they get to make their selection first. So 82nd Airborne has chosen Allies, and they have chosen Flak pits as their map, meaning that DC will be in orange on the left side of your screen, playing as the Axis. So this is a best of 3. This is match 1, and we are just about to get started here. For those of you that have never watched an 18v18 before, there are no tanks, there is no recon, there is no artillery. You can't have a bunch of different squads. It's just 3 squads per side, fighting it out, outposts only within the zone. It should be a blast. And we are off. And if I pivot to my right, immediately, we're going to see this 82nd Airborne team running in. This is Gem's squad. He's going to be on the north side. As I move south here, we have 2 squads from 82nd. This is Terminator and Rub D. So 82nd sticking with the squad leaders that have been successful thus far in the tournament. As I pivot left, we have a small element of DC players here. That is Sirius's squad alongside of NVIDIA and Alex Boss, who have been very strong in this tournament. And moving over here, we have 2 squad leaders moving up the hill. This is Bliker and Ninja Pulver. So a lot of quality on both teams, like individual players. The quality is just so strong. And that's why these teams are here. And now we get to just watch this happen. And I have to say, this is a surprise pick. I don't know if 82nd has even played a match on Flak pits in this tournament. Their pick heading into today has been Roar River House, and they've looked and felt very comfortable on Roar River House. But it looks like 82nd has elected not to go there because they saw that RO and DC played Roar River House, and that DC actually beat RO as the Axis, which I think came as maybe as a bit of a surprise to this 82nd team. So they're electing to play the safe game. They're going to pick something that they haven't gone yet, but it means that they've practiced it. They have picked Allies, which is a really good choice for the long game. So Gem is clearly thinking about the long game here. Doesn't look like Gem is very concerned about the opening plays. Gem is looking to win a battle of attrition. It's very easy for the Axis to capture Flak pits at the start of the match. But I think Gem is looking at the longer game plan. So already we're seeing an element of DC in orange here. They're moving down the hill. The south hill on Flak pits is really the key to this strong point. And it is really difficult to win and execute on this strong point by not controlling that hill. So DC right now doing everything they need to be doing. As I pivot to the north side of the map here, we have kind of just some spread out elements. We've got one player from DC right here. This is NVIDIA. There's an automatic rifleman from 82nd working his way up the hill. Thus far, DC with a pretty commanding start. I think maybe 82nd didn't get the opening play they were looking for. A little slow off the draw here. I also have to mention that I think they both just played a 50v50 together as a team. So they might be a little bit of tiredness. We'll see. But we're going to see a capture come in here from DC at the start, which means that 82nd is going to need to reset their outposts. And it's going to be critical that 82nd gets all their squad leaders up and they're able to reset them. Because if they don't, they're in a little bit of trouble. And I don't see able squad lead up. Oh, he just spawns in. I was really, really close. So 82nd just gets able squad leader in as time runs out there. As the capture comes in, Charlie and Baker outposts go back up. Able is going to be looking to reset his. So at the start, we have a very, very good play from DC. They grab flak pits pretty comfortably. Remember, this was 82nd's choice to come to flak pits. So 82nd basically yields an opening start to DC. So we're not even 5 minutes deep. DC in a fairly strong position, not extremely strong, but fairly strong. Flak pits is a strong point that's just marred with trees. It's Hill 400, as you all know. It is a very difficult map to move around on in the areas where enemies are looking, but it is a very easy map to move around on when you are out in the open. And the key for 82nd is going to be utilizing this north side of the map, this whole area on screen right here. This is downhill. It is very hard to see. And a team that properly utilizes that space can very comfortably move up and get some spacing and make a flank happen. And it looks like, as I zoom in here, this is 82nd Gem. This is the team captain for 82nd. He is moving up this hill. He's looking. He's got NVIDIA on his left. Maybe he hears him. Oh. Really nice shot from Gem. So NVIDIA goes down. So Gem on the... Oh, he was on the prowl. He goes down. So quickly gets found out there from DC. As I was pivoting to Gem there, the map has opened up a little bit. We're seeing some players from DC and 82nd kind of all over the place. Nice little brawl there from 82nd, but DC wins that. Really interesting. One of the things with flak pits that we see is that the team that gets control of the hill, like I mentioned, is the team that dominates the game. There's been one exception to that rule, and that was back in Losers Round 5, I want to say, where a team actually kind of pinned the Axis onto the hill, which was really impressive. And they managed to capture the zone and basically just force the entire enemy team onto that hill, unable to get to the circle, which is just like really, really impressive. So I don't know if 82nd saw that and was like, yep, this could be us. We could pull that play off. But thus far, if I take a look at the score, definite score advantage to DC so far, but it's still close. It's still early. Plenty of time for this to go on. We're just over 6 minutes deep. We've got an AT player there from 82nd. He's close to the circle on flak pits. So we got that going for them. 82nd right now kind of just in their backfield, not really in a position of a lot of control. They have decent parts of the map to their name, but nothing that's like groundbreaking or crazy good. As we keep this top-down view, the thing to watch will be, you know, does DC try and move down the hill, which is at the top of your screen? Do they try to move down this hill and try and, you know, snuff out this outpost? Or are they going to be content holding the hill and just forcing this 82nd team to play into them? We do have this AT player, I just have to mention. 82nd has got an AT player just sitting right on the circle. He just dropped a squad leader, which is nice. Surprised he has not been found yet. He's still going. I'm going to zoom in on this guy. Who do we have here? This is Fingus. He's dropped another one. So Fingus right now maybe causing a little bit of confusion for the DC team. He's just laying down on some rocks right next to the circle. And definitely could be causing a little bit of confusion. A grenade finally gets him, so nice job there from DC. But that maybe bought the 82nd team some time to move up on this hill. Charlie squad lead, this is Gem here on the south side. He's looking to go around, so we're going to keep an eye on him. Just mentioning him on stream now. You'll see him right up here. We'll keep an eye on him as he moves around. Conversely, if I pivot over to DC, we're going to keep an eye on, this should be Ninja Pulver's squad. Yep. We're going to keep an eye on Ninja Pulver. Ninja Pulver has been a squad lead this entire tournament that has been very aggressive. Ninja has been the definition of the aggressive squad leader in the format. And I'd be curious to see how aggressive he gets in this one. He's had moments where he's had brilliant plays, and he's had moments where he's gotten a little too aggressive, and it maybe could have cost his team a little bit. Granted, DC did get to this championship game, so it obviously didn't cost them too much, but just something to watch and keep in mind as this match goes on. Those are the two squad leaders that I would, if we were doing a sponsored featurette, I would pick the two of them. We have a medic from 82nd. He's moving down the road. And he's somehow not been seen. That's Spearhead, fitting name. He's kind of gotten into the backfield here of DC. Maybe he's flashed an outpost because now I'm seeing players starting to converge on him. So he must have flashed something. Oh, he drops. I think he just dropped one with a pistol. Really nice. So 82nd right now doing a decent job of getting players into the backfield and causing some havoc. He finally goes down, but like that, again, the more time you're causing your opponents to look behind them means they're not looking at the majority of your team looking forward. So right now, 82nd has got really undisputed control of this southern flank. There's really nobody from DC here anywhere close. So we're going to keep an eye on these two players here. This is On One and Cobra Tiger, both players that I've mentioned on stream in the previous weeks. As we pivot down onto them. So On One is looking to get an outpost here on the flank. He knows that there's got to be one from the DC team here, so he's using the width of the map really nicely here, trying to find something on the outside. Oh, that was a very nice shot. Drops an assault player there. I'm going to pivot now back to the hill. And let's go check out this squad from 82nd. This is Terminator. So Terminator's basically been given the tough task of fighting uphill and keeping DC interested. So he's basically just trying to ensure that he's pinning, or at least keeping an entire squad of DC focused on this hill. The reason for that, nice kill there from Adam of damage. The reason for that is if we take a look at the map, you'll see Gem has gotten all the way around. And we're going to pivot back now. Gem, the squad leader of note that I mentioned, has now pivoted all the way into the backfield of the DC team. He is all the way behind, and there's not a single player from this DC team that has picked up where he is. He is very alone. He's taking his time, though, making sure that no one is looking behind. We're going to follow Gem here a little bit, and maybe Gem is setting an outpost. Is he thinking about it? I'd be curious to see what Gem's thoughts are here. Gem has got his outpost right now all the way in the north side. Really, really taking his time. So Gem is going to try and sneak up behind and grab this outpost. He's got to be careful. He's just on the edge of the border here, so hopefully he doesn't get kicked for a boundary. Hopefully he's paying attention. Gem has the opportunity to blow this game wide open if he gets this play right. So we're going to come back to him. He's got WTH Blues Arc in front of him. He's shot, so now they know someone's behind. So we'll, curious to see the reaction here from the DC team. As we see, 82nd is kind of on the periphery right now, and Charlie's outpost did go down, but okay, so this is really interesting play. Someone found the Charlie outpost, or Gem has just now reset it, and Ninja Pulver and Gem are about to run into each other. Oh boy. Now, Ninja is looking for the outpost. Oh boy, he might get it. Let's see here. Ninja drops Gem. Mund and Cobra Tiger have got to know there's a guy there. They get him. So really, really good save there. They save the outpost. And Gem, all of a sudden, has gotten control of the South Hill on a wide flank. I mean, the widest flank you could do. And that is really, really impressive. Gem now has put 82nd in a commanding position with about 17 minutes to play. He really has opened up the map. Now DC has got to basically turtle up around the circle and try and maybe play out wide, because they've lost the positioning on the hill due to a great effort there by Gem, who gets the control. So now, as we focus in on the hill, we've got just a couple of players from DC now inside of the circle, which is a pretty wide open circle. And look at the convergence of 82nd players on this circle right now. Pretty much the entire 82nd team is coming in on the circle, and there's pretty much no one from DC there to fight. And now this is a very, very good play. Huge shout out to Bliker. That is exactly the right play. Do not, you have no one around you. There is nobody to help you. There's no sense in Bliker going forward and dying just for the heck of it. Bliker's going to basically tactically pull back. He's going to set his outpost so he doesn't have to, work from scratch. And he's going to go and make sure that his team does not lose full control of the zone. Because right now, 82nd, about halfway into the match, he is, this is about as good of a cap as you'll get on Flak pits, is what I guess I'm trying to say. Gem did not get the start he wanted. 82nd probably didn't get the start they wanted, but they play the attrition game. They play out wide. They get a guy behind. They get a squad lead. They get an outpost, and all of a sudden, most of the outposts get reset for this DC team without even capturing the zone. So 82nd is able to find them. And pretty much you're going to see 82nd capture here at exactly the halfway mark of this game. So halfway through, and we have a brand new game. And now Gem, remember, this was 82nd selection to come to Flak pits. This is really, really, so key. Now, DC has got to find a way to get back onto this hill, or they're going to have a lot of trouble. Now, as I say that, we are seeing a decent concentration of DC are moving back into position here on the lower parts of this hill in towards the circle, though we do see the capture come in just over the halfway mark for the 82nd team. So now 82nd, let's see. I don't see an outpost from Charlie's squad, so something tells me that he is starting from scratch. Yes, he is. So Gem gets the cap, but in the play, he loses his outpost, so now he's got to start back from his base garrisons. Really, really exciting for DC. They have an opportunity here to get back in. It's the little plays that matter in this format, like finding the outpost even though you lost the zone. Is going to give DC maybe an opening. And as I say, that strong point does go contested there for a second. And now look at this. You have a whole group of DC just sweeping over this hill very quickly. One squad lead, an MG, and a rifleman up there, and he goes down. So it's like the play for the hill from 82nd a few minutes ago was absolutely perfect. And now look, DC has swept back in huge numbers. Outpost goes down. And now, DC back in the driver's seat of this match very, very quickly. That was a very, very fast recapture. And look, we saw about 15 blue dots inside and around that circle about 2 minutes ago. And now there's just one MG from 82nd up on the hill. And the entire 82nd team now has to start from scratch. So talk about a reset. That is such an impressive recapture there from the DC team. Really showing their prowess in this format and understanding how to recapture and when to recapture. We're going to zoom in on this fight here. This is Rubdi Jarvan Hill in 82nd, going up against a couple guys from the DC team. Really nice job there from DC snuffing out that attack. That was well done. Fingers dropping back a little bit here. MG from 82nd up on the hill finally goes down. I mean, that was, that's a tale of this game mode, right? Like, 82nd makes the right play. They get behind. Gem gets an outpost. DC basically has a full reset. They've got to go all the way back to their base spawns and they got to run back in. 82nd does capture, right? They do actually capture, but it costs them their entire team to capture the zone. 82nd loses pretty much all of their outposts. And now they're starting back from square one again. The problem now is that 82nd has no control of that hill at all. DC now in a very commanding position on the southern hill. So just, this changed very fast. And now DC has the opportunity to initiate a kind of a box out on the hill at least. So I think you're going to see an audible get called here from Gem, and Gem is probably going to say, look, we either need to full commit to that hill or we probably need to ignore it because of the positioning they now have. So we need to watch here and see what does 82nd try to do. We are now 11 minutes to go in this match, a little over 11 minutes. The capture does come in. So DC recaptures Flak bits. Charlie gets to reset his outpost on the 82nd side. We're waiting to see Abel and Baker. They all do. So 82nd gets all of their outposts back up. I'm keeping a top-down view on this map right now, just to give you a sense of where everybody is. We'll zoom in on fights as we see them. But right now, just want to show you like this great line of players from DC, north to south, trying to understand when and where to go. And so they are just holding a line. They're just hanging out. And we're going to see, like, is DC actually going to try and initiate a box out on 82nd? Like, would they dare? Would they dare try to do such a thing? Holding a thin line on Flak pits is very difficult due to the ease of mobility, especially on the south side. North side is a different story. Sorry, on the north side. South side is a different story is what I meant to say. So we're going to watch to see if there are openings in the DC line, and right now there's a big one. As you can see, right in between these two players, that assault class and that rifleman is just a massive opening for 82nd to try and move through, and I'll be curious to see if they pick up on it. It looks like a squad leader has. That is Gem yet again. He's on the move, looking to try and get his team back into some kind of workable position. Gem goes down. Cobra Tiger still in position with an assault player. That's Jarvan Hill. So Alex Boss has really been like a critical player for DC in this tournament. He's been in a couple of different roles. I've seen him mostly on MG, but he's kind of been, in this match, he's been just sitting inside of the circle when they have captured the zone, and they're just there to suppress and, kind of be that final man of defense inside of that strong point. And just goes to show, like, there's a variety of roles in this, and sometimes you sit and you don't really see much for a little while because you just need to cover a zone to prevent a big play from happening. So we are now below 10 minutes, and this is match 1, so we're going to get a match 2 here no matter what. But for DC, right, DC is coming from the losers bracket, so DC needs to win 2 best of 3s to advance. 2. So DC right now in a good position to at least start where they need to go. They need to get 4 total wins over the course of today to actually emerge as the champion, whereas 82nd just needs to get 2. So 82nd maybe in a little bit of a back foot position. Probably didn't think they would be here. And now you're starting to see, as we do see some capture progress does come in, which is interesting. Will 82nd be able to break out of this? Like, they need to send a squad, and as I say that, why do I even mention it? Every time I say that they need to send a squad leader, here's Gem just running along the bottom. So Gem now is going to maybe try to capture lightning in a bottle and is going to go for it a second time. And I will tell you, if he can get around, he has a big opportunity to do so. If 82nd can keep this DC team busy, DC is starting to hold a fairly high line. Which I think is a little dangerous against a team that, is as quality as 82nd. I think for both teams, holding high lines is dangerous. Both of these teams can shoot well. So if you hold a high line and that line gets broken through, you're in a lot of trouble because you don't have anyone behind you. So something to keep in mind as we go on here. We've seen DC really perfectly execute the defensive plan in the final stages of the match when they've got the zone. And we've seen with about 3 minutes to go in the match, DC will just collapse on the circle, which is definitely the right play. So we're going to need to just keep an eye. Does DC try to just collapse on the zone here, just ensure that there's no capture progress, try to, kind of dagger this game? As I say that, Gem is on the move. And Gem, as we saw just a little while ago, really opened up the map for his team. And he could be like an individual hero here, as long as 82nd can hold the positions they currently have where they currently are. Baker's got to reset his outpost. It looks like he's trying to do that. But now we're starting to see, the ability of DC to really kind of put a clamp on the match. They don't know that Gem is behind them. So that's an X factor, but there is certainly a large concentration of DC players right now, preventing 82nd really from getting anywhere near the circle. The closest guy is about, 50-ish meters from the zone. So he's gets a kill. So we'll keep an eye on Fingus there. The AT player just dropped an automatic rifleman. But as I pivot left, you will see Gem all the way in the backfield, all the way alone. He's got his outpost up, and he is now completely behind this DC team, and there is no one even close to him. Gem is about 150 meters from anyone on this DC team. So 82nd has an opening here. We're going to keep an eye on this. And it looks like Gem has now instructed his team to really get DC interested. Baker actually starting to move up this hill a little bit. And a squad lead does go... Okay, big opening now for 82nd on the hill. A squad leader goes down, an MG goes down. There's just an automatic rifleman on this hill right now. A support player spawns in, but they've got 20 seconds to go. Ooh, the front player there for 82nd goes down. So there was a bit of an opening there on that hill. As I see that on the left side of your screen, you're seeing Gem all the way in the backfield. He is getting around here. There was an assault player all the way in the backfield for DC as well. I didn't even see that. Who was that? That was DC Wing. So DC Wing actually got into the backfield there as well and caused a little bit of a problem. And it looks like he actually got Baker's outpost. So that's also something of note. So Baker now up on this hill, and he's kind of not in great position to reset his outpost. We've got just 5 minutes to go in this match. And Gem is probably waiting to spring a trap of some kind. He's just moved his outpost up. Okay, Gem has moved his outpost. He is in position, and he's going to try and sweep behind and eliminate these outposts. They have an enemy OP marked up on the hill. So Gem has a lot of work to do in 5 minutes to get this capture for the 82nd team. He really has to eliminate the OP on the hill fast. That has got to be his first objective, and that's what he's looking for. So Gem now on the prowl, and he's going to get close to this outpost. Now, he's going to flash it here in a second and be curious to see, okay, Core just spawned. Oh, Core has got a sense. He sees that the zone is flashed. He doesn't really know where to look. Oh, and they all converge on Gem and get him. Now, Charlie Outpost is up behind. So now they're going to know, DC's going to know that someone got behind them. Will that outpost stay up? There's not a single player from 82nd. Now, wait, this is interesting. DC not looking for the OP. DC... Okay, this is an interesting call. Maybe they really think that was just one player and they're not concerned. But the 82nd outpost behind is still up. And Gem has now just spawned a full squad on it. And it doesn't look like they've maybe realized that there was an outpost. I would have thought that they would have maybe picked that up. So... And now you saw that squad just dropped Ninja Pulver, I believe, on the hill, or Bliker. I'm not sure who that was. But, okay, so this is going to get spicy here in the last 3 minutes. 82nd, not really in great position, but they are behind. And I guess, when you're in the backfield like this, anything can happen. And they do wipe a squad. Now, they've got to find this outpost. Okay, Bliker does spawn. Cobra Tiger and Mund are converging. Bliker gets one. Gem and Cobra get around. They've got to get that outpost. Gem knows it's there. He's got to get it quickly. Cobra's like right next to it. Gem gets the outpost. Okay, so that's really big there for 82nd. They've now got control of the South Hill. Bliker goes down with just 2 minutes and change to go in this match. There's just a single rifleman left from DC on the hill. Everyone else for DC is in and around the strong point. Charlie still has outpost up behind. Abel is dealing with a rifleman all the way pushed up for the DC team. He goes down. So that actually, DC's got some forward elements here that are slowing down 82nd from getting their final squad in. So this is all over the place right now. You've got Abel kind of stuck in E3, Baker and Charlie up on the hill trying to get capture progress, and we do see capture progress with 2 minutes to go is starting to come in for the 82nd team. So with 2 minutes to go in this match, 82nd has put themselves in a position to win. Are they going to have the numbers, though, to actually complete this capture progress? I don't think so. Abel is trying to move up. DC is in a weird position. DC has basically got their whole squad like in the middle of the map, kind of in no man's land. Not really great position for them to be in. And, you know, Abel, Baker, Charlie are going to converge on this, it looks like, from 3 different areas. Now, Charlie outpost gets reset up on the hill. That is a really good play there from 82nd. Getting it away from the, you know, the kind of run-in zone that DC is going to be using. And with 90 seconds to go in this match, we have significant capture progress for the 82nd team. DC is coming back in good numbers. But 82nd is starting to converge on the zone. And we're almost certainly guaranteed overtime here as this continues. 82nd now, we're going to zoom in on the fight on Flak Pits. We're going to just go a top-down view here. 82nd is going to try and get out of this trench system with as many people as they can to break out. They are holding about half capture progress. That's going back and forth a little bit. Perico goes down, but he trades with Maine. 82nd now, it's a mad dash to get to the zone from all directions for both teams. DC is trying to run in from basically all directions as well. But 82nd has got 3 bodies inside of the circle. Otegu, Cobra Tiger, Spearhead. They are holding strong, and they are giving enough capture progress to 82nd where DC's got to panic. 30 seconds here. DC has got to basically throw every single body they have into the circle, or they're going to lose. 82nd holding on for dear life with really, really thin numbers here, but they are getting enough capture progress. 82nd now is in a position where they could pull out a win. Baker loses his outpost on the 82nd time. With 10 seconds to go here, 82nd is going to maybe capture this. But DC is starting to come back with a little bit more numbers. 82nd, 5 seconds to go. This will go to overtime briefly. DC has got to recapture. It starts to go back in the other direction as we hit overtime. DC has the thinnest of margins to work with here. DC gets a full squad in just as overtime hits. Rubdi now in the backfield. Oh, this is wild. 82nd was about 5 seconds from winning this match in overtime. They got a lot of capture progress, but DC just gets in. And now 82nd has got to run back. They've got about a minute of time to work with here, but Baker went down without resetting his outpost. And now I think that actually spells disaster for the 82nd team. Abel and Charlie are in the zone, but Baker is not. There's just not enough players from 82nd. I mean, 82nd right now is going to need to just go Rambo, and they're going to need to kill all of these bodies inside of the circle in order to get a capture, and I just don't see it. 82nd was just a mere inches from winning this game just a few seconds into overtime. And they still have a small window here. They've got about 30 seconds to work with, 82nd does, and they've got to come back in big numbers. They do have a rifleman, and they have an MG sitting inside the zone. Otegu and Spearhead. Perico is coming around on them. Otegu and Spearhead get it, but now they're going to know that there's somebody right there. So 82nd just trying to hold on for dear life right here. Major Mouse coming in to reinforce. A full group of 82nd players are now running in. All they can do is run. As I say that, now capture progress starts going back in the other direction. 82nd, briefly there, get some capture progress going for them, and now they've got more. So now we are almost 2 minutes deep into overtime. And this, remember, overtime ends when someone captures or someone successfully defends. So DC either has to completely stop capture progress or 82nd has to cap. We are now 2 minutes deep into overtime, and there is no clear winner at all. 82nd now, it's just all over the place. 82nd starting to get some bodies back into the zone. They got a little bit of capture progress, maybe bought them a little bit of time. A lot of trading happening. DC has got 5-6 guys inside of this circle. They're doing everything they can to hold on, like Alamo style here. But as I say that, 82nd now starting to pick up capture progress again, and this championship is living up to everything that we all hoped it would. Oh, but a bunch of players from DC go down there in quick succession. 3 players from DC drop very quickly. DC now has just 2 players inside the zone, a squad leader and an automatic rifleman. There's a full group of players trying to run in from the backside here, but 82nd now has got half capture progress. We're now 2 minutes, 30 seconds deep into overtime. 82nd now has numbers. They've got a little bit going for them, but they still don't have enough. 82nd has got to move their entire team into the zone here, and they need to do it quickly. Gem is able to spawn in the backfield. This could be really big for 82nd. He is in the backfield. His squad lead goes. He goes down. Okay, so now Charlie is going to lose their outpost almost certainly here, but 82nd is getting capture progress. I'm not sure it's going to matter. 82nd now 25 seconds away from winning this match. We're 3 minutes deep into overtime. DC has plowed everyone they've got into the zone. Capture progress now going back and forth constantly. It is on a knife's edge here as we see the humongous concentration of players fighting in and around the circle. Smoke out everywhere. DC now reversing capture progress. This is absolute insanity here in match 1 of the championship. We have smoke everywhere, 82nd and DC players all over the place, and it is just currently sitting contested. It is just a flat contest with neither team capturing. As we say that, DC now starting to capture it. We're now nearly 4 minutes deep into overtime. This is already the longest overtime this tournament, and it could go on longer. It is still half capture progress with DC filtering it in big numbers. 82nd has got to come back. Remember, Charlie lost his outpost. That's Gem's squad, right? So Gem has got to run all the way back in now. 82nd is now in trouble. DC has got their entire team sitting inside of this circle. It is an absolute mad dash. We're 4 minutes deep into overtime. The halfway point has just been crossed. DC has got half capture progress, or half reverse capture progress, I should say. They're defending. 82nd has got just a few players in and around, but a couple of them are starting to mix it up a little bit. DC has just got a lot of orange dots up right now. 82nd sending everything in that they possibly can here. This is it for 82nd. 82nd's got to go in with everything they've got. 4 minutes, 30 seconds deep into overtime. DC now is in a commanding position to walk out of here with a match 1 win. 82nd, all they can do is just run to the circle, throw grenades, throw rockets, and just pray that they kill enough players to stop the capture progress. But DC being very smart, they're sitting 4, 5, 6 guys inside the circle, just trying to make sure they stay alive. Capture progress just about to get snuffed out here. 82nd is coming back though. There was a little bit of a flip there. Can 82nd hold on? No, that is it. 5 minutes deep into overtime, DC pulls out the win. That was an absolutely insane overtime right there. And that could not have been a more chaotic end to the match. That was insane. DC wins match 1 of the championship. 1-0 heading into this best of 3, match 2. We now get DC's selections here. That was really amazing. That was so exciting to watch. DC does what they have to do. They put themselves in a position to maybe force the second best of 3. That was just an incredible, incredible game. And easily the match of the tournament thus far. And you know what? It couldn't happen at a better time here in this championship. We're going to cut away briefly. As we set up match 2, I cut, just so you guys know, I cut between each match here. I turn the stream on and off, just so that way I can get the VODs nicely, perfectly done. So that was really awesome, really, really fun. We will be back in about 15, 20 minutes with match 2 between 82nd and DC. Don't leave. We'll see you in a little bit.